there, thanks for joining me today. My name is Jo and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. I'm going to show you a special card that I've made today. Now this is a little bit of a labour of love, and it was actually grown from the original sort of 3D cube box card that's been doing the rounds a lot just lately. Unfortunately, I don't know who was the originator of that design, but whoever it was brilliant. And if I find out, then I will obviously credit you in the description. However, I wanted to make something a little bit more special for my niece's 30th birthday, which I will show you in a moment. She's, as I say, she's 30 and she's had a bit of a rough time over the last couple of years, and I wanted to make her something that make her smile, and I will show you that, as I say, in a moment. But I thought it would be nice to recreate it in a Christmas theme. So this is the finished card. Now you would need to make a box for this to go in because it is quite thick, or you can get those sort of envelopes that have a little sort of gusset on them, which you could use. Alternatively, you could actually put a sort of little belly band around here, but you know, it's a special thing, so it's not designed to sort of be in a small envelope. So this is our card, and what happens is that it will open up. So as it opens, it will then create this shape. So this is the view from the top, obviously, that you're seeing at the moment. And then when I open this or tilt it up so you can see properly, you'll see that you've got this full scene with our little snowman in the middle. So it's quite sweet. It is actually surprisingly simple to make. It's just a little bit time consuming, and you do have lots of layers that you need to cut out along the way. So this is the reverse of it, so you can see. So it's all finished nicely. And then when you fold it up, it will fold flat. At this point, just make sure that his little hands are in there, and then it will go like that. So again, you could even tie a little bit of ribbon under here. So I hope you like that. I'm now going to show you the original so you can see where it sort of grew from. As I say, this is my niece's 30th birthday, so I've added a few extra elements on this one. So I've added a large greeting here, which I absolutely love, and I wanted to put niece on it, obviously, and a little flower. So I've added 3 elements here, but on top of that I've also added a couple of little pop-up 30s so that it sort of makes it extra special for her. So I'm hoping she's going to like it. I'm hoping that she's not going to see the video before it arrives. I don't think she watches, so I think I'm safe. But there we go. That's where it was grown from, and obviously we're going to make the winter one today. So we are using the Feels Like Frost papers, which are returning from last year. I'm so glad they returned because they were so pretty, and I never really got the chance to use them properly last year. And we're also using a new stamp set, and this one is called Snow Wonder. So we're using this little snowman here and this little greeting here. So let's get cracking. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to cut ourselves some card. Now, as you can see, there's 4 layers here, and that gives us the 4 different heights of our actual card once it's completed. So the first piece, this needs to measure 19 centimetres across by 18 centimetres high. Then you need 3 pieces that measure 13.5 centimetres high by 19 across. 2 pieces that measure 9 centimetres by 19 across, and then 2 pieces that measure 4.5 centimetres by 19 across. Okay, so I'm going to start off by explaining where we're going to score. So on every single piece, you're going to score at every 4.5 centimetres. So ensuring that the 19 centimetres is running that way, so you're in landscape, you're going to score at 4.5 centimetres, 9 centimetres, 13.5 centimetres, and at 18 centimetres. And as I say, you need to do that for all of your pieces. So then I need to start thinking about how it's going to go together and how my layers are going to go together on this. So first thing I want to do is start with our tallest one, and then we'll work down the actual layers as we go. So I've folded this, and I have also removed the corners just from this little tab here so that we can see where we're going to glue it. So this is going to glue inside, and we want to be able to lose this, the actual join there. Now, it could be hidden if we had it in that direction, but of course that is the front of our card, so you're going to have that raw join there, which I'd like to avoid. So I'm just going to turn it once, and once we've turned it, sorry, wrong way, once I've turned it once, this is going to be hidden inside of here. So if I have my tab to my left hand side, I'm going to be adding my DSP to these two here. Okay, so that's going to fold up, and then you're not going to see this because it's on the inside, and our paper is going to be on these two. So I'm going to glue those on first. Now we have, as I say, I have pre-cut all these layers so that we're good to go. So the cardstock on this particular one needs to measure 17.5 centimeters by 4 centimeters across, and your DSP needs to measure 17 centimeters by 3.5. But of course I'm using the feels like frost papers, which are only 6 by 6. So we have got a little short piece here, about 2 centimeters just under, which I have cut another piece to cover it. It is hidden inside, so you don't see it. You could get away with just leaving it off, to be honest, but I like to see things sort of finished as I want to see them finished. So you're not going to see where the join is, but the whole thing will sort of look nice together. So I'm just going to glue these to the inside of this layer. If it helps you when you're making it, you can also sort of mark the crosses once you've worked out which direction it's going in. I say they're hidden, but it's just helpful when you're trying to work it out in your head where they're going. Okay, so as I say, once this is folded and this is glued inside, you're going to see these two pieces here. You're not going to see where our join is at the bottom. Okay, so I want to add glue now to my tab. And then I'm just going to close it up. Once I've closed it, I'm just going to fold it the other direction. I'm just going to use my bone folder just to make sure that it all glues down nicely. Okay, so we've done our first sort of tube, which is going to be at the back of our card. Now we need to make the next layer down. So when I started to make the original one, I was making it as I went along, because I was obviously designing as I went along, and I thought maybe it would be easier to show you on the pieces where you need to stick the patterned paper. But in all honesty, I think it will just confuse matters further. So please ignore my writing that I've got on here. I'm going to put them all together, and I'm going to show you how to attach them and then where to stick your layers, because it's quite easy to attach your layers once you're done. Because we're open either end, you can actually sort of feel where you're actually positioning stuff. So I think that's probably the easiest way to go. So as I say, just ignore these pencil marks or pen marks on here at the moment. We're going to make up our first box. So normally if you make up like a tube, like I said, you would normally stick this flap inside just so that it's sort of on the outside edge, which is what you normally see. You don't have any like tabs. But on this occasion, we want to actually stick our tabs on the outside, because this will then be stuck up against the side of our original channel like that, so it means that inside we don't see any of the workings going on in there. So that's what we need to do first. I'm going to take my first one. So as I say, unusually you need to stick the glue on the opposite side to what you normally would. If you happen to stick it on the wrong side, don't panic, you can just fold it back the other way. So I'm just going to close this up now. Now I like to start it off sort of in the air, and when I'm happy that that's where it's going to stick, I'm then going to lay it flat onto my work surface, and then I'm just going to burnish it with my bone folder just so it sits nicely. So you can see this is on the outside, and this is my original, my original tube. So I'm now going to add glue to the side that has that flap on it. So I'm covering it completely in glue. Now this, I'm going to start on my left, and then we're going to do the right, and then we'll do the middle piece. So I'm going to stick this up against this edge of my original tube, but I want to make sure it's stuck on one of the sides that hasn't got the paper on the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to grip it together, and I find if you lay it sort of on your desk, you'll make sure that these line up nicely. And as I say, you can get in either end of the tube, so you can easily sort of push it together. And then once you're happy that it's in place, I would just then flatten it, and again just burnish it all, and it will just make sure that it's all glued nicely in place. And then what we'll do is we'll actually add our paper to that in a second. Okay, so I'm just going to do the other one. So this is my right hand one. Again, ignore my pen marks because we're not taking any notice of those at the moment. I've added glue to that outside tab again. I'm just going to repeat exactly what I've just done. So I'm just making sure that it's stuck where I want it. It might flip up like it did there, just slightly when you lay it down. Just persevere with it, it will stick back down. And again, because it's sort of it's going on the outside edge, sometimes it deforms your square just very slightly. So just you know, burnish it all again, and you'll find that it's all nice for you. Again, I'm going to add glue to that outside edge, so the side where my flap is on the outside. And for this one, I want to stick it onto the other side of my original tube, again making sure it's on one of the sides that has no paper on it. So again, I'm just going to lay it down, I'm going to make sure the ends line up. That's it. And then when you're happy with it, just lay it flat and then rub it down. Give it a quick burnish just to make sure everything's stuck in place. Okay, so it should now look like this. Okay, now our third one, which if I put our third one together, exactly the same. Again, I'm going to glue on that flap and stick it to the outside of my tube. Again, just burnish it down, make sure it's all flat. Now, once again, I want to add glue to this side, but I also need to add glue to its neighbouring side. So this is going to fit in here like this. So these are the two sides that I need to add my glue to. I'm just going to add those now. Okay, so I've added the glue. I'm just going to pop it in. This one, you just need to make sure that it all sticks really nicely together. So I'm going to start at the top and then going to turn it over and just work the bottom piece and make sure that it all sticks really nicely. And then, as I say, just make sure everything's stuck down. Okay, and again, you can flatten this because it all folds flat, obviously, to go in our envelope or our box, whatever we're going to be using. Just make sure it's all stuck down. And there we have our cubes. Okay, so that's our first three. Now at this stage, I will add my paper edges that I'm going to be using. So I've already cut mine. So I'm going to just do the inside of these two, and then we'll do the outside when we get the next layer on, so that we've got no dispute of where things are being stuck and whatever. So I'm going to start off with these pieces here. Now they are going to go inside. So one is going to go in that side. So I've got two pieces that have these trees, and they are going to be positioned on those outside edges there. So if I add some glue now, as I say, you can just pop it in, carefully pop it in, and then you can sort of position it from either end, just making sure it's straight where you want it. And again, you can flatten that down just to make sure that it's all stuck nicely. Okay, you'll find that it is a bit flimsy at this point because it's not sort of all come together. Once all your layers are on, it actually becomes quite sturdy. So I'm going to add glue to the other tree one. I need to treat myself to a new glue in a moment. And again, I'm just going to pop it in that outside edge. And just glue that in place. As I say, because you can get in either end, you can easily position it. And again, I'm just going to flatten that down just to make sure it's all stuck into place. Okay, so that's my first two. I'm going to stick these two in next, and for this I've gone for the silver sort of snowflakey sort of paper, dotty paper, whatever. I think it's meant to be snow. So again, I'm just going to pop it in, make sure it's positioned top and bottom. That one's in. I'm going to repeat for the other side on the inside of this tube here. This is the thing of sort of knowing where you're going to stick pieces. Now, if you're unsure, you could make up the whole thing first and then just glue all these in as you go. Okay, so now I've got my two tree ones here, these dotty ones in here, and now I want to put a whole piece in here. Now these are the ones where we have the join at the bottom. So you just want to make sure that that join is actually at the bottom, so you're not going to see it on the top section. So again, just make sure that that's at the bottom and pop it in and just reposition it. And again, don't be afraid to flatten it, because once it's stuck in position, it's not going to move. Now this has started to become a lot sturdier, so instantly you feel it all sort of coming together. Okay, and my final one here. So I'm covering where the two pieces join. Making sure that it's all lined up. There we go. Okay, so as I say, if you could feel this, you could feel that it instantly, it's all starting to sort of become more solid and you know, really sturdy on its own feet, so to speak. So I'm going to put that to one side, and we're now going to do the next layer. So these are the two pieces that measure 9 centimeters by 19, And again, we have scored them at every 4.5 centimetres just to so that they all match and obviously line up together. Okay, so these are the two pieces now, they're all folded, and we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. And we want these flaps to stick on the outside of our tube. So we're just doing it exactly the same as we did before. So make sure they're all nice and flat. I'll just stick the other one together before I add them. Okay, so that's our next two tubes made. So again, on the side where the join is, I'm just going to add some glue. So now I want to attach it to this first piece here. So I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'm going to lay it down. I just find it's easier to do it this way, because then you know it's flat. Okay, and again I can just flatten that down so that we know it's all stuck in the right place. So I'm going to repeat again. This is my side with the flap on it. Okay, so again I'm going to lay it flat, pop it down, just line it up the best you can, and then when you're happy, again just stick it down, and you'll find that these two, when it folds into our envelope, will join in the centre. I'm just making sure everything's stuck down lovely. Okay, so that's those two. Oops, that one's not quite stuck. I'm going to go back that way and do it a bit more. There we go. Okay, so now that's all done. Again, these are quite flimsy, but once we've got our layers on, we'll know that they'll stick really nicely together. So again, we want to stick pieces inside. So we're going to start off with these two pieces which are in here. So I'll start off with this long piece first. All of these measurements I will put up on a graphic, because I think it's important that you sort of know what is what. But just for ease, these pieces, the cardstock is 13 by 4 centimetres and the DSP is 12.5 by 3.5. I'm then going to stick this one inside here. So it's, as you look at it, it's only, you only want to stick it on the pieces where you're going to actually see anything. So this one is going to stick on the inside of this one here. And the measurements for this one, the actual cardstock is 9 centimetres, sorry, beg your pardon, 8.5 centimetres by 4 centimetres, and the DSP is 8 by 3.5. So again, add my larger one to the inside of this tube here. And then finally this piece is going to stick onto that inside edge. There we go. So that's that part done. The next edge I want to do, or the next pieces I want to do, are these 4 sections in the centre here. Now, I loved this paper with the trees on, so I thought what would be quite nice would be to create like a full scene. Now, obviously these pieces are shorter than that, so I've actually sort of cut a bit off the tops and bottoms to actually get my trees in the right position. So just bear that in mind when you're doing any cutting, if you want something like a scene to appear. So I'm going to stick this one onto here. There we go. So that's now all done with regards to our little scene there. I'm going to put I think Mr. Snowman in the middle of there in a moment. We'll experiment, see what it looks like. So that's that part done. So now what I want to do is to add my final 2 cubes onto here. So again, these are exactly the same as all the other pieces. So it's actually quite a straightforward project to make. It's a bit time consuming and lots of obviously lots of pieces. So again, that tab needs to stick onto the outside edge. Make sure it's stuck down nicely. Now, this is really your choice, so you can, if you wanted to, continue with that theme so that you have like the 4 lots of columns, or you can do it round the other way, like the original cube type cards, so it goes like that. I quite like it like this because I think it just kind of finishes it off nicely, whereas that it's sort of because it's open. I don't know, it's your choice, but I think I prefer it the other way. So I'm going to add some glue to this section. Okay, so that's going to obviously sit like that. And just the final one. Okay, so that is your actual sort of card stuck together. We have some more decorating obviously to do now with this one. So what I've done is I've cut some squares this time. Just going to burnish that a bit more just to make sure that it is stuck nicely. There we go, that's better. So now I want to add the decoration, as I say, to this point. So I thought what would be quite nice, I'm going to use these little squares. Now the DSP is 3.5 centimetres square, and the little dotty ones, the cardstock, is 4 centimetres square. So they're just tiny little squares really. Now I think I'm going to have them positioned like this, so it kind of follows the flow of the pattern and the silver, so it sort of all flows nicely, but it's entirely up to you how you want to stick them. Okay, so that is now all our paper stuck into place as far as this is concerned. I will show you the back of it in a moment, and then it's up to you whether you wish to actually cover it or not. But I want to show you first of all how this folds together, because I think you will find that you'll probably want to add an additional a few bits on pieces onto it. So if I turn it on its back, this is how it folds. So this part will fold flat. So this is our first 2 top layers will fold completely flat. Our next layer folds inwards, and then finally that layer lays flat. So as you see, you got 2 squares here and 2 panels, which actually are sort of on the outside. So if I turned it round, it's actually this panel here, it's underneath on the square, and then we've got these 4 panels also in the center at the back. Now I've cut 2 pieces of DSP and beg your pardon, pink Blushing Bride cardstock and Whisper White cardstock, because I thought this would be quite nice for you to write your message on. I then think it would be quite nice to actually finish the covering, so I'm going to do that now, and then you can see what that will look like. Okay, so now I've added the extra layers that I spoke to you about before, so that when this folds up, all of my little squares, etc., are covered. I'm going to add a little greeting here in a while, so there will be something to sort of break that up. And if I flip it over quickly, you can see that I've added these white panels, and I've also added panels on here. I think it just finishes it off nicely. You know, for the sake of a couple more little layers, I think it looks really pretty. So I'm going to turn this back over, because now we want to add our little elements that we're going to add to our box. So, sorry, to our card. It's not a box. So first of all, what I've done is I've actually quickly painted one of these little snowmen. So this is taken from our stamp set called Snow Wonder, and I've actually cut him out. Now at the bottom I have got a little bit of snow, which I'm going to add some glitter to in a while. So I think that's going to go at the bottom of our card here. And then I've also taken this greeting, the Sending You Blessings, Peace and Magic this Christmas season. I thought it was really nice, and I love this font. I've stamped this in grey granite just onto Whisper White, and then I've got a pink Blushing Bride layer there. So what we need to do to attach these to our card is we need to take a piece of card that is 6 centimetres wide. Now, I've used a scrap, so it doesn't have to be exact, sort of the depth of it. So you just need a piece that's, well, probably about 5.5 centimetres, something like that. But as I say, it's not really relevant. 6 centimetres is what we need, and we need to score it at 1 centimetre, at 2 centimetres, and then 4 and 5 centimetres. So this is 1 and 2 from either end if you prefer to do it that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut this piece roughly in half. It doesn't have to be exact, so that I've got a piece each for my greeting and also for my snowman. So what you need to do is you need to fold this like a concertina, so it will look like that. So it's like a little foot almost. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both pieces, and these are going to attach onto my card. Now you can, if you want to, actually put these pieces onto the back of your greeting and your snowman first. I find it's far easier to do it separately. So what I want to do is just to position this roughly where it's going to go. So I'm going to pop my snowman. I just need to make sure that he's completely covered, which he is. Okay, so I'm going to go up about 2.5 centimetres, something like that, from the bottom. So I'm going to add some glue to one of these little tabs. Okay, now I'm going to open this up so hopefully you'll be able to see. So where that fold is, this is going to stick up to that centre score line. I don't want to go over it, I just want to go up to it. Now, when I made my original one, I thought to myself, next time I make one of these, I'm going to stick these tabs on first before I put these paper pieces over. It doesn't really matter because you can't see it, but it would give it a nicer finish, I think. So I'll have to try and remember that for the third one. But these things you forget as you go along. So I've added some glue to the other tab. Now I just need to be careful as I fold this up, because I don't want to get glue anywhere else, and just push that down. So that is now hopefully stuck on both sides. I'm just going to give it a minute or so just to do that. Now I'm going to also do the same up here, which is where my greeting is going to go. So I can be doing that one while the bottom one is drying. So again, just added a bit of glue. I'm going to put it central on here. Just a bit too much glue. I've got a new glue, and there we go. So just up to that score line, and pop it down. And then I'm going to flip it over. This is also sticking onto this silver, which is a little bit shiny, so it takes a little bit longer just to adhere to it, really. So I'm just going to close that up. That's it. So those two now will stick down. So this is my first one. So you can, as you open it, you can see that these pieces sort of pop out. So your greeting and your snowman will just pop out of the bottom there. So I'm going to now add some glue onto here. And then I'm going to stick my snowman. I'm just going to make sure that he's just a millimetre or so just off the bottom, because I don't want him to catch or to sort of stick out too much. So he's stuck on there. And then again, I'm just going to add some glue to this centre section here. And I'm just going to hold this up as I do this, because I want to try and make it as central as I can. There we go. So when this is folded flat, it will be like this. So this will be how it would go into your envelope, or how it would go into a box. I think I would need to make a box, because obviously it is quite thick. So I will probably set about making a box at some point soon, just to do that. A simple square box, or you can buy these thicker envelopes and big square envelopes, so it would fit in also. So then I'm going to open it up as it would, and then you just need to put it into shape. There we go. So hopefully if I turn it around a bit, you can see that's how it will look to your recipient. So I think that's really sweet. I think it's a really nice sort of unusual, different sort of card. I think this one might go to my sister. I always sort of make her something for Christmas that can be used sort of every year really. So I'm hoping she'll like that. Okay, so I hope that's explained everything to you. If you want any sort of help or anything, please message me. I'll be happy to sort of try and talk you through anything that you're not sure of. I may have got a bit carried away with regards to measurements as I was going through, and may have omitted to give you one or two of the layer measurements. I am conscious of that, so I will ensure that they are put onto my blog post and also onto the actual video itself, in the description, so that you can get those details. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you like that, and I can't wait to see your creations. Thanks very much. Bye.